Hello, this is Laura with Jot and Tittle Typewriters, and glad you're here. We are going to take a look at a 1960s Smith Coronet Coronet Automatic 12. This one has been repainted. This is not the original color. But let's go ahead and we'll start from the back, make our way forward, and then I'll do some typing on it to show you how this works. All right, so the Automatic 12 is great for beginners. It's easy to use, especially for kids, because it's electric and it feels so much more like a computer. Back here, you're going to find a paper holder because as you type, the paper is going to come up here and it's going to flop over and hit the table. And it just it's hard to go back and read when your paper is flipped over. So this paper holder just keeps your paper sticking up. When it's time to set margins, you just press and you drag these little tabs here on the top. Okay, and then over here on the left is a paper guide. So you just push that where you want. It can come all the way in here. Let's say you're going to type on an envelope or a postcard. It just helps you load that paper in straight and consistently if you are using multiple pages. Now over here on the right side of the carriage, this is your paper release. And what it does is it releases, there's a bar down here, and it releases the tension that's on that paper so that if it's crooked, you can adjust it and make it nice and straight. Now to move the carriage, there's two carriage release handles, one on each side. And as you're holding the carriage, you just pull that lever in and it goes back and forth. Now this typewriter does not have a bell on it. And the carriage will move only as far as you have the margins set. So if I pull the margins all the way out, then now the carriage is gonna go way out here, okay? Normally there would be a bell when you get to the end of the margin, the right margin that tells you, hey, you're at the end of the margin, but this one does not have a working bell on it. Okay, I'm gonna bring these in and then we're gonna take a look at the left side here. And on the left side, so this is an electric typewriter and it has a power return. A lot of typewriters have a handle for a manual return. This one's got the power. So when you hit that power return, it's gonna advance either 1, 2, or 3 lines. This is your line selector right here. And so you can just decide, how many lines you want it to advance. Now, when you turn the handle, you'll hear it click, and that clicks every half of a line. Now, let's say you are filling out a form or you're going back and you had taken the paper out and you want to go back and you want to keep going from where you left off. To get it to line up perfectly is impossible with this half a line option. So sometimes you need to release this roller so you can adjust it to right where you need it. And the way you do that is you press in, see this black button over here? And I'll tip it up a little bit so you can kind of see that. You press that in while you're turning your handle, and that releases the roller so you can do fine adjusting. And then when you let go, it's gonna go re-engage and go back to clicking. Okay, so now let's open up the top and you just simply pull forward on that, and inside you're going to see your ribbon. This is, we've put in a universal ribbon on this typewriter. Black is on top, red is on bottom. Please pay attention to how it's threaded through the guide wires. There is a photo of this, and if you click the product listing link in the description below, it'll take you to view those photos. That's a great point of reference if you have one of these, and so you can just bookmark that. So you want to make sure it's threaded properly, and then also this is so important. The ribbon on the spools isn't that long, so as you're typing, you're going to get to the end of the spool and everything might stop on it completely. So maybe your font gets faint, or as you're typing it feels really stiff, or it just stops working altogether. That usually means you're at the end of your ribbon spool. Now there's no notification that says, hey, you're at the end of your ribbon spool. You just have to kind of be aware and watch for that. So what happens to me is my typewriter will start working, I'll panic, I'll forget all about the ribbon, and then about 10 seconds later, I'm like, oh yeah, reverse my ribbon. And the way you do that is a lever right here that says rib rev. You just switch the direction of the ribbon. Now you should be able to reverse the direction of your ribbon dozens and dozens of times before you need to actually change the ribbon. And when it is time to change the ribbon, you just pull it out and pop a new one in, and again, being aware of how that is threaded through those guide wires. And you'll probably want some latex gloves or something like that, because the ink does get all over you. All right, let's take a look down here. So on the left side, I told you the ribbon reversal copy set. This is just it determines how hard these strike bars inside of here are going to strike your paper. It's a personal preference. You can mess around with that until you get the darkness that you like in your font. On the right side is MR, margin release. We talked about that margin. It'll stop all of a sudden, and you can't go any further than that point where you've set it. But maybe you have like an ER that's left on a word you're typing, and you want to finish off that word. Well, then you hit margin release, and then it'll release this margin and you can keep typing. And I'll show you what I mean here. Also, this is color selector. There's red, black. Your tab button is in the middle, and then you set your tabs over here and clear them over here, and then your power button, power return, and then your on off switch. So let's go ahead and turn this on, and we'll do a typing demo. Now with electric typewriters, with the power return, I always put my hand here, because with me punching on these keys, sometimes it releases them and that carriage will go flying. And this one didn't, so hey, we're good there. All right, let's go ahead and load up our paper. And I like to just set it gently right there and then turn the handle. Pull that bar forward and then put the bar down. I come all the way up halfway to make sure it's nice and even, which it is perfect, yay! But if it wasn't, then you could pull this forward and then adjust your paper. Okay, let's come back down, and now we can start our typing. I'm gonna double check my margins. I like to have narrow margins for the typing demo. Okay, so this is a 1960s Smith Coronet Automatic 12 power return. Okay, let's try this again. So let's see where the tab is set. Oh, that's good. I love recommending this for kids. As I mentioned before, it's just a very easy typewriter to use. And they're affordable. So this is good for like college students, homeschoolers, I don't know. I mean, you could write a book on this, no problem. But those of you who are serious about writing a book on a typewriter, or a screenplay, or a longer project, I like to encourage you to invest in something that is a little bit, has a better flow. So you could use this for longer writing projects. However, really, this just is good for casual writing, occasional writing, like I said, school projects, or for your kids or something like that. It's a very easy to use. Very easy to use typewriter, and I love how dark and clear that font is. Okay, let's try out the red. Sorry, I'm used to, all right. Okay, so I'm at the end of my margin, and since this didn't have a bell, it didn't ding to let me know it was at the end of my margin, but it just stopped, which is fine. So if I just hit this margin release, I can keep going. And when you make a mistake like I did, you just go back, space, And that's how that works. So really good working typewriter. So this types well, and I suggest for kids, students, and casual, how do I turn here? Casual writers. Okay. Oh, and I'm glad I did that. There are 3 keys on this typewriter that have an auto repeat function. And so that's going to be your dash, your period, and your X. So you can use that for typewriter art, or if you make a huge mistake and you just want to X out a whole line, you can go and dash through it or X through it or whatever you want. So that is a feature on the electric typewriters. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out the links in our description below, and you all have a great day.